الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم إلى يوم الدين. Inshallah, as I said, we finished looking at the theme for all of the verses in the Quran, the 114 verses. And this took, two years, a little bit over 2 years. So now I'm going to try to, basically do something as much, condensed. And this is looking at basically each juz and says, can I draw 5 to 10 lessons from that juz? And frankly, this is something we can all participate in. As you read it, what I pick might not what you pick. And do it, and we can assemble a book actually on this topic after this. And everybody can participate. You all read the Quran. So when you come to an ayah that you said, boy, this ayah means something to me, just mark it and find out, try to draw from it. So I'll share with you what I have, but honestly, that's not, exclusive or inclusive either, so. But frankly, if you really think about it, the Quran is unlike any book, because it is the final book or revelation, include the final revelation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to mankind. There is nothing else is going to come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a revelation other than in the Quran. And it is organized, as you know, in 114, chapters or surahs, and every 20 pages or so, they organized into, 30 juz. So, and within this every juz or every ayah, must be, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking, frankly. I mean, we have to read the Quran with that idea that not somebody's great scholar or even a great prophet speaking. No, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is speaking. And if Allah spoke, we know that He has ultimate knowledge, ultimate wisdom. It has to have a lot of jewels, a lot of gems in the Quran. The question is, we have to mine them, have to pick them up and take advantage from it. And this is why I raised this issue. People sometimes, most Muslim, how they treat the Quran, they revere the Quran. They treat it as something that gives them comfort when they read it. But really, it is something, and probably another one which is sometimes, frankly, annoys me personally, which people, recite the Quran with music, almost, in a musical form. And the worst part, if you go, I don't know, Pakistan, or in Pakistan, I listen to talks in Pakistan, you get a good reader in Pakistan or in Egypt. Actually, I see it more in Egypt, and the people say, Allah, I mean, they actually, I want to sometime when I try to let you listen to a recitation here, I go to one of the great reciters and try to pick, something, because when they record it is different than when they present it in public. But the trouble with it is all interrupted by shouting of the people. I don't think the people admiring the verses, but admiring the voice is almost like listening to a good singer, in that regard. But this is the way actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to us. Yes, when you hear it in a good voice, it impacts your heart. There's no two ways about it, whether you understood it or not. There is an impact on it. But that's part of the miracle of the Quran. But the Quran also, it came as to give you comfort and to give you relief by listening to it or reading it, but also give you guidance to apply. And therefore, it should actually help us to transform us. Every Muslim should be transformed to become really super individual. And the Muslim society should become a super society, a society that admired by all nations. So they can look at the Quran and say, what transformed those people? Nothing other than the Quran, frankly. If you look to the people in Arabia, people, the Roman, the Persian Empire fought with each other all the time. But did anybody of them fight to control Arabia? No, because there is nothing there to control. They have a bunch of tribes fighting with each other all the time, you know, has some even immoral corruption by, you know, killing the girls and so on. They say, well, what is this going to control? What are we going to control here? But even Yemen was controlled because they have civilization. But the Arab didn't have civilization in that regard. But how can you take now a group of people within 23 years that to transform it them to this character? That they become within 40 years after the Prophet ﷺ, they ruled over the two greatest empire at that time, the Persian and the Roman. What did it change? Did they have new technology? You know, all what it is, their character changed, their morality changed. And this is why you notice even the companion, how a person like Sayyidina Umar, you know, when he used to make an idol from, you know, dates, and when he get hungry, he eat it, you know, and he was prosecuting, you know, Muslim, and suddenly transformed 180 degrees. What transformed him? By reading verses from Surah Taha, which the Imam read this morning, you know. Subhanallah, you know, and this is the way with that, frankly. So if you look at the Muslim world today, there is no way the Quran has impact on them. But do they read the Quran? They read the Quran. They admire the Quran. They pay so much money to listen to a good. But the question is, so what? Is it an entertainment, a book for entertainment? They get so mad if somebody burned the Quran. But when themselves never use the Quran for any guidance, if this is not this is worse than somebody burning a paper, that you're basically burning the message because you are not applying it. And this is why when the Prophet, Allah subhanahu, the Prophet sallallahu will say in the day of judgment, في سورة السير, we all know في سورة الفرقان, وقال الرسول يا رب إن قوم اتخذوا القرآن مهجورا. Oh, Messenger of Allah will say, oh my Lord, my Rabb, you know, my people have taken the Quran as things abandoned. Abandoned from what? They read it, recite it. No, abandoned from it doesn't impact their life. So this is really something that we all have to feel guilty about, you know. And the way we feel guilty about, because we read for blessing. We think we read for blessing, but we don't read it actually as a book to learn and apply. And that is something really we have to do. So in whatever in this series of talks, which obviously is not going to take us long, because I'll try to get, you know, I always prepare about 6 pages. So if the 6 pages fill 1 juz, it's fine. I'm not going to do less than 1 juz. If 1 juz is not going to be sufficient, you know, it's not fill 6 pages, I'll do 2 juz or 3 juz, you know, but you can help me also by giving me ideas of how to do it. So inshallah today, we'll go, you know, to basically the first and the second juz. So today we'll start the first juz, and the first juz is start from Surah Al-Fatiha and the end with the verse 141 in Surah Al-Baqarah. Actually, every juz in the Quran, the way it is written, it's 20 pages, you know. So you can read 1 page a day, you know, and so now when we look at it, we find out something. The Surah, I said, Surah Al-Fatiha, and the Surah Al-Fatiha actually become almost like the preface of the Quran. Any book you read, it has a preface in it, an introduction chapter in it, to tell you what is the book, what is the key element of the book on it. And then it goes in to define what is the purpose of the book. And the purpose of the book, obviously, the guidance, to seek guidance. And then go describe, you know, the character, the people, the character of the people. And it's amazing, actually. You look at it, and it gives you, discuss the believers, which you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala discuss it in 4 verses. Discuss the disbeliever in 2 verses. But then Allah talk about the most dangerous group, which are the hypocrites, which in 13 verses. Then the surah then goes through the creation of heaven and earth, the creation of Adam, discuss a lot of Bani Israel, and then it talk about, you know, Harut and Marut, and the building of the Kaaba, and the Prophet ﷺ supplication. That's the juz, you know, cover all of these things. So let's speak about what we get from the juz. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced himself, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allah introduced himself, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Nas. He's talking about it. So directly, it tells you if Allah introduced himself as the Lord of all creation, of all the world, means that you are not alone. A Muslim does not live alone. He lived in a universe have a lot of creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, everything exists in the universe you should honor because what? Because Allah is their Lord and Allah is the one who created them. You cannot, ignore them. You cannot abuse them. You cannot harm them, if you know who is the creator. Almost like you get a greatest artist make a painting and you get some stupid person, go say, oh, this is a stupid painting. It's no good. Who are you to do this? Or, discard it or, tear it or destroy it, So obviously the artist will be very upset if somebody does like this. Now the same thing here. If Allah created something, we should honor it because of who created it. And Allah gave us control of how to do with them. Like even if a tree, if an animal or anything, all of them are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then also to tell you that as a Muslim, we are not individual. Our basis of thought should not be I. It should be we. Because even when you look at the Fatiha, Allah doesn't address you as an individual. When Allah subhanahu إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You alone, we, not I. You praying by yourself, but you speak on behalf of everybody. And that is so critical in the mindset because we live in the West. And the West emphasize what? Emphasize the individual. The Islamic conception of creation is that no, you are a group, you are a society, you are a world, you are universe, you are representing, you are part of them in all of this. And the same thing for the dua. You praying by yourself and instead, Ihdini, Allah guide me to we said, guide us. Allah guide us. So in a way, you transform your mind that no, you cannot just live by yourself and think you are going to be successful. No, you have to live within a society and all of society have to be successful. No one person is going to be successful in this regard because you are responsible for it. All it, I always give the example. I said, this is almost like when the professor given the final, project that they give to kids in probably in a senior year, and it's a group project. So when he evaluate them, you come and, evaluate them as an individual and evaluate them as a group too. So you get the kids, you get two basically combination of two grades, a grade by his effort and the group, but the group effort. So yes, we are going to be graduated, we are going to be rated individually, but how is our rating and judgment in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be made? Is it only depending on our own action or our also impact in our society? That means if we have no impact in the society and the society is corrupt and keep it corrupt and do nothing, then we will be held accountable too. And there is many hadiths to tell us this, and actually many ayat also can discuss this. Second one, we can look at it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he created Adam. The angel asked a question. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And he taught Adam. And then after this, after Adam was taught, and he repeated what he has been taught, Allah told the angel prostrate to him. Why? That means the honor of you and I depends on knowledge. Knowledge is the ones that differentiate man from anybody else. If a person is ignorant, he does not deserve the honor because Allah subhanahu honored the Adam by knowledge and set this as a stage for us. So the foundation for human dignity is not in ignorance. It is based on knowledge. And the Muslim society have to become always the most knowledgeable society. And since Allah told us He created everything, so there is nothing we study in the universe except the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever you study, physics, biology, astronomy, whatever it is, it's you studying what you study the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why Allah, when He make it, said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا, He didn't tell us what asma is. You know, it's a knowledge. And debating what is the specific things Allah have taught him, and everybody has an idea. But let us focus in the bigger picture. The bigger picture is learning. You have to learn. And we know this because there was the first verse revealed in the Quran. Read. How are you going to acquire knowledge other than reading? Yeah, by reading. The other one, are we as an we, because the Western also think about everybody's independent, you know, but now, or free. Now we look at the conception of us in from the Quranic point of view. Are we free to do anything? No. Allah subhanahu inni ja'alun fil ardi khalifa. Your role is to be a khalifa, steward, you know, in this earth. You have a responsibility toward this earth. So you are not living by yourself. It's not your freedom. No, you have a responsibility. Yes, you are free to apply what you are representing. Allah created all of these things and make you responsible for it. Therefore, you don't have, anything you can do with it. No, you have to do it according to him, to his command. What's his intention is and what he wants from you. So that directly lead you to service. You cannot be worried about yourself. You have your Khalifa to everybody. A poor person you are responsible for. A plant you are responsible. A water you are responsible. You are responsible for everything. It is not basically so that, don't worry about everything else. No, you are accountable in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have you represented this khilafah? How you represented this responsibility? It's no more that you work for a company and the person assign you as a head of a department. The end of the day, what? You will be held for your action regarding managing this department. So here will also be held in this case. So that's also a mindset. Another one is knowledge, the thinking, human thinking. Because if you look at the Western society, the focus always, I have to be convinced. I have to have a proof for everything. I have to have a materialistic proof for everything. But as a Muslim concept, of a way we think, we have two things. We have a reason. We value the brain. We value the intellect, but also we value the guided by revelation. We cannot go away. We have to accept the revelation as part. It's not everything my brain tell me has to be correct. It has to be guided by the higher level authority, by higher level intelligence, more than just my intelligence. Because now here in the Western society, no, it's your intelligence. You are the one who decide to do this. I decided this is correct, But it still comes from, are you independent, individual, or you are a Khalifa? So it's all, you are representing somebody, acting on behalf of somebody. Therefore, you have to recognize also that there is guidance. He's not going to leave you alone without guidance. Yes, you have a brain to think, but you also has to be guided. And that bring in ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى الْمُتَّقِينَ. And then the first part of it, the guidance, that يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. You have to believe there is certain things you cannot see, you cannot prove, and therefore you take this as part of your, the conception of your human thinking. It's a reason guided by revelation, not only reason, because people can reason and get deviant, in that regard. But I said, modern, societies, Western society, what they do, they reject the unseen. They said, everything that has to be established based on my brain, my intellect, my experiment, so. But Islamic worldview is actually different. It has, yes, your brain is so valuable, knowledge is so valuable, but also you have to accept that there are certain things you cannot violate, you cannot prove in that regard. Other one we notice also, if you read this, the angel asked Allah a question. And Bani Israel asked Sayyidina Musa a question. The question is what is the purpose of the question? Questions are so important tools to understand, to learn something. If you ask the question with humility to understand, you learn something. But if you ask a question with arrogance and the stubbornness, you just don't want to do it, so let me ask, keep asking, then that is not going to lead you to anything. And that's the difference between them. A sincere question is encouraged, and when the angel asked a question, Allah answered him. But we look at Bani Israel, Allah gave them a command. They suddenly forgot even about the purpose of the command and start asking for money question. And all of the question is intended because hopefully he can forget about it and we won't have, because we are not convinced there is a link between slaughtering a cow and then identifying who is the killer anyway. So they start asking the question. So people have, and frankly, sometimes you see people ask, a person, somebody giving a talk and somebody ask a question just not because he wants to know, but he wants to embarrass the speaker, for example, or wants to make it difficult. A Muslim have to be careful in that case. If you ask a question, then you really have to be able to learn. It's not a matter of just argument, with the speaker. The other one, when you also, learn knowledge, you also have to guard why you are learning this knowledge. Is this knowledge beneficial or harmful? Am I learning something? وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم. If people go, black magic, when they want to black magic, are they using black magic for good or they use it to harm somebody? Anything that you do, is the knowledge you're developing something? Are you developing really because it's going to bring, prosperity to the society, or because to give you advantage and the harm to the rest of the society? That is what. So one of them, how do you really, warn against the misuse of the knowledge? Whatever knowledge you acquire, it should be something to uplift and heal and help everybody. It's not to use it as a weapon for division. And the Muslims are so good for using, even knowledge as a weapon for division. We just talked about one today. Every issue you come, you get people, oh, you are a kafir because you don't do this, he's a kafir. Why is that? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to us, to make us united. We use knowledge in the religion to divide us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, if you learn something, learn it to make unity, not to cause division. Learn it to uplift, not to put down some people, and that's how knowledge should be taught. Another lesson we probably can learn also from this, and this is the power of word. It's so important to know what to say and when to say it. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. He didn't say talk to the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speak kindly to people. Everybody you speak to, a Muslim have to always pick the best word to say. And imagine now if you are speaking to another friend or speaking to a believer or speaking to your family, would you use bad words to them? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a command. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. If you are going to speak what is kind, what is good, and this, therefore, And then we know from a few things we talked about the Prophet ﷺ character. And as we said, the Prophet ﷺ never cursed anybody, never slandered anybody. He never used indecent word against anybody. So if we want to imitate the Prophet ﷺ, that should be we have to measure every word we say. Because words, frankly, the bad part about word, frankly, and we probably all felt into this, that you say a word and you said, I wish I have not said this. The trouble with it is went out, and you cannot bring it back. So before you say, particularly at a time when you are upset, don't speak. Hold your tongue a little bit, because
they use the word Qazimin al-Hayb.
Qazimin, you're right. But we'll come to it when we come to the Jews. All of these you find out supported everywhere, but I'm just trying to pick. Okay, let's look to another one. And this actually is probably very important too. Everything is very important, but this one, the Quran is very clear that Allah does not differentiate between people based on lineage. Allah differentiates people based on faith. You know, not because you are the son of a prophet, then you have a better position, or a son of a sheikh, you are a better, you get more honor than somebody else. No. And this is so important. The sad part, we do it. You know, there is a leader of a tariqah, his kids, you know, inherited, you know. And we created this problem also, the descendants of the prophet, you know, Asiyad, Sayyid, masters, you know, and said, you know, and Allah here is comes in how? It's Sayyidina Ibrahim. Sayyidina Ibrahim was making dua when he completed all his tasks. Then he made a supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, we are making you a leader. وَجَعَلْنَاكَ إِمَامًا وَإِذَا ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنْ. Allah gave Ibrahim certain commands and he fulfilled them perfectly. So in that case, the Prophet ﷺ said to him, I now make you an imam, a leader for people. Imamam linnas, you know. And then, so Sayyidina Ibrahim directly said, oh Allah, how about my lineage, my zurriya, wa min zurriyati? I want also my zurriya to be imams too. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, قال لا ينال عهد الظالمين. لا ينال عهد الظالمين. No, the imama go only to those people who are righteous, not because you are descendants. If they are transgressor, if they are do wrong, no, they are not going to get it. So it is their character, their behavior is the one give them this. And that directly takes away, you know, the whole principle about giving people some ranking, not based on who they are, but based on who are their father or their grandfather or whatever their family. No, in Islam that doesn't work out this way. Everyone have to earn the respect by himself, the honor by himself in that regard. And that also becoming an important issue because sometimes Muslim elevate somebody so high, particularly kids, and when they see some corruption from him, then suddenly they change and want to follow the religion. He said, look at this, what he did. No, people are people, you know, you deserve the honor for yourself, you know, whatever he does deserve the honor for himself, you deserve the honor for yourself. But you cannot honor somebody just because of anything. You honor him because of what you see good about him. And if you don't see anything, something good about him, don't honor him. Don't look to him. He's not a, you know, he's not a ma'soom. He's not infallible. Nobody's infallible. But this emphasized this issue about them. Okay, another one, which when also Sayyidina Ibrahim was making a supplication, he make a supplication, he said, رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا بَلَدًا آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ. Oh my Lord, after he built the Kaaba and so on, he said, oh my Lord, make this city a city of peace and provide its inhabitants with fruit. Here is also interesting. Remember when he asked that, when he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make his lineage or his descendants to be, you know, a leader, imams, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell him, no, you know, imams, people do unjust that are not going to be imams. So here Sayyidina Ibrahim came back and said, oh, you know, make this city is a city of peace and urzuq alahum as-samarat, give, you know, provide its inhabitants of fruits. Only those believe in evil Allah. So he wants now to restrict the blessing of Allah from those people whom Allah, you know, basically consider as transgressor and aggressor. You know, man aman minhum, only from those who are believers. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell him, no, I'll give to the believer and disbeliever until the day of judgment, they will be judged. So the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to everybody. But but peace, you know, the security is a responsibility of everybody. So no matter where you live, you always should pray for peace in wherever the place you live, the city you live in. Yes, this said Ibrahim was in Mecca. But in that case, do we want to live in a city that's not in peace? You know, even if you live within disbelievers, or if you live within an enemies, you know, or people you dislike. But if they are, if it's not, if you have this in this place that you are in criminal, there is a lot of crimes and so on, you're impacted with it too, you know. So all of us as a request for the city, and then also, can you provide to the non-Muslim as the Muslim if they need help or they need food or need something? And the answer is yes. Allah subhanahu is the provider. So people, and I said you have to go back to the original one, Rabbil Alameen. It's Allah is your Lord, He is their Lord too. So you might be the means of providing for them because you take that first concept that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is this. So if you look at this first juz, and this juz actually give you almost the foundation of the faith and the characters of the Muslim. And what's important part is calls for this collective worship and the dignity of all Allah creation in that regard. And the established knowledge as a foundation of the advancement of the society and respect of honor of man in this regard. And also warn against the misuse of knowledge. Don't use the knowledge to take advantage of some people and hurt some and some other. And then establish the kind of speech. You know, speak, always think about it. When you speak, be sure that you use only the best words. And then it talk about, you know, that actually leadership in Islam, leadership in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it depends on your righteousness. It does not depend on who you are or where you came from, you know. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك يا ربنا تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اكفنا بحلالك عن حرامك وبطاعتك عن معصيتك وبفضلك عمن سواك. اللهم بفضلك ورحمتك أعلي كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us. Shower us with your blessings. Increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, purify our hearts, strengthen our faith, increase our knowledge, and make us benefit from what you have taught us. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. Oh Allah, make their graves garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, grant to all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. Oh Allah, grant us the power and the ability that we may be grateful for the favors you have bestowed upon us and our parent, and that we may do righteous deeds that are pleasing to you. Oh Allah, we seek from you all of the good, whether we know it or we don't. And we seek your refuge from all evil, whether we know it or we don't. Oh Allah, we seek refuge in you from incapacity, from laziness, from fear, from greed, from poverty, and from the torment of the grave. Oh Allah, we have many of our brethren who are living under oppression and injustice. Oh Allah, heal their trauma, protect their helpless, and grant them lasting peace and prosperities. Oh Allah, we ask with every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.